Milo the mouse lived with his big brother Max. They had the coziest mouse hole. It was small but warm and comfy, and they slept snuggled in little beds made from the softest, silkiest wool. Their mouse hole was tucked away inside a wall, and Max had chosen it long ago when they were seeking a place to live, and this one seemed perfect. It was a bedroom wall in a house that belonged to a human family, so it was quiet and peaceful, especially at night, tucked up in their beds in the mouse hole. Max and Milo enjoyed long nights of deep, dreamy sleep, dreaming of cheese most of the night. Cheddar cheese, Milo's favorite, was especially tasty. Usually Max and Milo slept very well, but there was one problem. Max snored. On some nights, Milo woke from a wonderful cheese dream and heard Max snoring. Sometimes it was a snuffling sound, and sometimes it sounded like he was chuckling. Max himself made some very funny noises. Milo didn't mind it much when his brother snored, except when it woke him from an especially good dream. Occasionally, he wished he had his own mouse hole where nothing would ever bother him, and he could enjoy endless dreams of cheddar cheese. So one morning, Milo made a decision during a breakfast of toasted breadcrumbs. Milo told Max what he planned to do. "It is time for me to find my own mouse," Milo said. "After all, I am nearly grown up, too grown up to share a hole with my brother. I am going to look for a new place to sleep at night." Max smiled. It was like his little self, the brother who always wanted to do things on his own and become more grown up, wished Milo good luck. But Max reminded him that there would always be a bed for him. After breakfast, the two mice hugged goodbye, and Milo set off on his adventure. He felt very grown up as he left the mouse hole and scuttled happily across the bedroom carpet. It was a bedroom belonging to a child, about 4 or 5 years old, so toys covered the floor. Milo had to navigate through a maze of gigantic, colorful building blocks and shiny toy cars. What a mess, Milo thought. Milo preferred to keep his space neat and tidy. Cleanliness was a lesson his brother had taught him to always tidy up. Milo thought it did not matter, especially since he was leaving the bedroom anyway. He hurried through the maze of toys, down the hallway, down the stairs, and into the living room. The room was bright and clean, with a beautiful wooden on the floor as Milo walked across it. his paws went click, 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 and hidden behind the sofa was a spacious mouse hole. Milo smiled when he saw it. Yes, he decided this would be his new home. He spent the day decorating and making a cozy bed out of feathers he found in the sofa cushion. Soon it was nighttime. Milo usually went to bed early, around 7 o'clock. Like most mice, he needed a lot of sleep. So just before 7 o'clock, Milo settled down in his soft, feathery bed. Usually, his brother tucked him in and said good night. It was a little strange not having Max there, but Milo reminded himself that he was the big mouse, was nearly grown up. So he no longer needed his brother to tuck him in. He would visit Max tomorrow and tell him all about his new home. Milo closed his eyes, tired and looking forward to a good night's sleep. But just as he began to drift off, he heard a strange noise outside his mouse hole. Sounded like voices and music all tangled together. Oh no, Milo thought. This was worse than Max's snoring. He sat up sleepily, rubbed his eyes, paused briefly, then got out of bed and crept outside to see what was going on. Milo could hear voices from above as the human family sat on the sofa chatting. When Milo peeked over the edge of the sofa, he could see the large TV on the opposite wall. The screen was full of flashing, moving pictures, and it was making all kinds of sounds. He couldn't sleep here tonight with all these noises, so he would have to try another room. He hurried across the living room floor to the kitchen, whose floor had black and white tiles like a large chessboard. Milo's paws tapped as he scuttled across the floor until he reached another mouse. There was a gap in the wall just behind the fridge, and Milo settled happily into the new mouse hole. It was quiet here, and he could smell the lovely cooking smells. His whiskers twitched as he sniffed the air, its cheesy aroma, which he found delicious. He figured he would be quite happy here, surrounded by tasty treats. Smelling after making himself a bed out of a kitchen towel, Milo curled up, ready to sleep. He let out a big squeaky yawn and closed his eyes. But just as he felt himself nodding off, he heard another noise. It sounded like clinking and clanking, mixed with a great gush of water. What on earth could it be? Milo woke up and went to see what was going on. When he looked outside, he he saw the source of the noise. The man who lived in the house was by the kitchen sink, washing all the pots and pans, wearing yellow gloves. Oh dear, Milo thought. How could he sleep with all the clinking and clanging, not to mention the gushing? Water. He would have to keep looking. There had to be a quieter room somewhere. Then Milo had a thought. It was the humans who were making all the noise at the moment. They all seemed to be downstairs, watching TV in the living room and washing up in the kitchen. If the humans were downstairs, Milo should go. Upstairs at last, he would surely find peace and quiet. Milo, sleepy, climbed the stairs, yawning with every step. The carpet felt very soft beneath his paws. It would be nice, Milo thought, to curl up and fall asleep right there. But he kept going, all the way upstairs and down the hall, until he got to the bathroom was dark, cozy, and completely silent. He could not hear a single noise, thank goodness, Milo thought, and he began to look around the bathroom, searching for a mouse hole, and soon found the perfect spot in the wall. Hidden behind a basket full of the hole was so small that Milo could barely squeeze in. But it would do for tonight. He decided he did not need much space, just a quiet place to sleep. Then Milo made himself a bed again, this time a soft nest of cotton balls. It wasn't as soft as his old one. The bed was comfortable enough, and Milo was so sleepy that he knew he would drift off in no time. Yawning, he curled up in his cottony bed. Then he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and opened them again. What was that noise? It sounded like gushing water again, but it was louder than before. Earlier, like during a rain shower or a waterfall, Milo huffed, got out of bed, and once more poked his head out of the hole to see what was happening. He found that in the bathroom someone was using the shower. The glass steamed up, and the water was gushing down. Milo stood there for a moment, listening to the shower produced a pleasant sound. The flowing water was loud, but soothing. Perhaps if he stayed a little longer, he would grow used to it and fall asleep. Then he shook his head. No, he did not want to stay here. Not when there was another, much quieter room just down the hall. Soon Milo was back to where he started, the bedroom. But this time, to his surprise, the floor was clean. The toys had all been tidied away. Milo was very pleased. pleased by this. Now it was much easier for him to move around the room. Instead of weaving between the toy blocks and cars, he would walk straight across the open space on the carpet. And although it was dark now, he had no trouble finding his way and knew exactly where he was headed. When he reached the mouse hole, he looked around. Max was curled up in his bed, and Milo had his own bed there, looking warm and soft. Milo let out a big, happy sigh. It felt so good to be back at home. Max woke up, smiling to see his little brother Milo. He got out of bed and prepared a simple meal for Milo, a delicious cheese sandwich. As Milo ate, he told Max all about his adventures. It had been fun. He said the house was so big, and there was still much to explore. But exploration was for the daytime. At night, he preferred being here at home with his brother. After Milo finished his midnight snack, he climbed into his cozy woolen bed. Max tucked him in and said good night. Then he returned to his own bed. Milo settled in contentedly, having tried many different beds today. But this one was the most comfortable, with the familiar smell of home. Then he heard a familiar sound, Max snoring softly. Milo had heard many sounds today, including the TV and the pots and pans. In comparison, Max's snoring was like a soothing lullaby. Milo grew sleepier and sleepier, certain that he would sleep well tonight and have wonderful dreams of cheddar cheese. He closed his eyes, let out another contented sigh, and soon he too was fast asleep. The Hedgehog and the Night Song. In a meadow that sparkled with dew each evening lived a hedgehog named Nori. He was shy and often hid beneath the tall grass when the world grew noisy. The crickets chirped too loudly. The frogs croaked without stopping. And even the owls sometimes hooted so sharply that Nori curled tighter into a ball. But Nori had a secret. He loved music. When the wind rustled through the reeds, or when the rain tapped softly on the leaves, he felt calm, as if the night was humming just for him. Still, he never dared to sing. His voice, he thought, was too small for the great wide world. One night, as the stars glittered above, Nori wandered farther than usual. At the edge of the meadow stood an old oak tree, its branches stretched high like arms. From somewhere inside the tree came a soft, trembling sound. A little closer and saw a young nightingale. Her wing was hurt and she couldn't fly. "I'm supposed to sing to the stars," she whispered, "but my voice is lost without the sky." Nori's heart trembled. He wanted to help, but what could a hedgehog do? He sat beside her, and before he could stop himself, he began to hum very quietly at first, like the rustle of grass. The nightingale looked up, her eyes shining. "Sing louder," she urged. So Nori sang. His voice was soft, a little wobbly, but true. And as he sang, the crickets paused to listen, the frogs quieted. Even the owls tilted their heads. Slowly, the nightingale joined him, adding her gentle notes. Together, their song floated into the night, weaving with the stars until the whole meadow glowed. When they finished, the nightingale whispered, "Your voice carried me when I couldn't sing alone." From that night on, Nori no longer hid from the sounds of the world, because he had learned something important. Even the smallest song can calm the night when it's sung with love. And sometimes, if you walked through the meadow under the stars, you could still hear him, the hedgehog, the little bear, and the dream boat. In a forest where the river curled like a ribbon lived a little bear named Arlo. He loved bedtime, but always wished his dreams could take him somewhere new. Each night, as he curled up in his den, he whispered, asterisk, "If only dreams were boats, I'd sail across the sky." Asterisk, one evening, when the moon rose full and golden, Arlo wandered down to the river. To his surprise, a small wooden boat was waiting at the shore. It glowed softly as if carved from moonlight itself. The oars were silver branches, and a blanket of moss lay across the seat. Arlo stepped inside, and the boat drifted off without a sound. The river shimmered, carrying him away from the forest. Soon he realized this was no ordinary river. It was made of starlight. Tiny constellations floated on the surface, and every splash of the oar sent ripples of light across the night. As he sailed, Arlo saw other travelers. A rabbit snoozing under a lantern, a family of mice curled together in a tiny walnut shell, a fox guiding his own little raft with a glowing crystal. They all waved sleepily, their eyes full of dreams. The boat carried Arlo past hills of mist, through valleys where fireflies swirled like golden smoke, and beneath bridges of clouds painted silver. Each place felt calm and safe, as though the whole night had been built just for him. Finally, the river widened into a great lake, still and endless. Above it, the stars leaned closer, their reflections sparkling in the water. Arlo laid down on the moss blanket, the boat rocking gently. A star drifted lower, brushing his fur with its glow. "You found the dream boat," it whispered. "Here, no dream is too small. Sail as long as you like." Arlo's eyes grew heavy, his paws relaxed, and soon he drifted into sleep. The boat cradled him, carrying him slowly back toward home. When he woke the next morning, the boat was gone, but a single silver oar lay on the shore. Arlo smiled, tucking it beside his bed. From that day on, he knew, whenever he closed his eyes, the dream boat would be waiting to take him gently across the river of stars. Our story opens on a warm, pleasant night as a young girl named Ava had just settled into her cozy bed. Her window was open, and the curtain moved slightly from a breeze outside. Ava lay tucked under her soft comforter, covered with pictures of dinosaurs. Ava loved dinosaurs and could identify every type, its name, and its appearance. That night, before bed, Daddy read her a book about dinosaurs as her bedtime story. Ava curled up, hugging her dinosaur stuffed animal she had received for her birthday, and pulled a soft comforter around her shoulders. Her eyes closed as she drifted toward sleep. Then a soft sound came from her window. She turned and saw the face of a young dinosaur peering in around the curtain. It looked like a small Apatosaurus, small for a dinosaur, though not small at all compared to people. But for an Apatosaurus, it seemed quite small. She thought it could be no more than a baby. The Apatosaurus smiled at her. Then it opened its dinosaur mouth and said, "Will you come and play with me?" Naturally, Ava would go and play with the baby dinosaur. She rose from bed and walked to the window. The little Apatosaurus moved aside to let her climb over the windowsill. The baby dinosaur offered in his small, rumbling voice that she could ride on his back. So Ava slid from the windowsill onto his back. It felt smooth and cool and a little soft. She gripped the dinosaur's neck, carried her away from the house. He lumbered on, and Ava felt his body rocking slightly from side to side. Up ahead, she spotted a grassy field she had never noticed before. It was filled with long green grass, and tall trees stood on the sides. Even though it was night, Ava could see clearly. The sky looked a deep blue, and the field shone with moonlight almost as bright as day. The little Apatosaurus waddled toward the grassy field, its body swaying from side to side. When he reached the field, he sat down so that Ava could easily slide backward off his back. It was enjoyable to slide down his back as if on a playground slide. Ava walked around to inspect her new friend. He wore a dinosaur-like smile, and she returned it, then asked what he wanted to play. The dinosaur grinned even wider and suggested hide and seek, which happened to be Ava's favorite game. Naturally, she agreed. They decided that the dinosaur would hide first. Ava closed her eyes and covered her face with her hands. She counted slowly as the dinosaur went to find a hiding place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She counted as far as she could and then announced the start. Ready or not, here I come. She scanned her surroundings. She saw the field's long grass swaying softly as the night breeze moved across it. She lifted her eyes to the dark blue sky, where the stars moved like strings of fairy lights. Then she shifted her gaze to the tall trees surrounding the grassy field. And there, she noticed a large dinosaur lying between the trunks. Her new friend's head was tucked behind one tree, while his body remained partly hidden behind several others. Yet she could clearly discern his back and tail among the trees. The poor, silly dinosaur was too large to hide. Ava smiled to herself, planning to pretend she was searching for him for a few minutes before she reached his hiding place. That way, he wouldn't feel bad and would have fun too. So she walked around the field, scanning the grass and peering behind the trees. After a while, she slowly approached her big friend, aloud wondering where he might be. As she drew very near to the trees behind which the dinosaur stood, she heard a rustling. She realized that her friend was shaking with quiet laughter as she grew closer. That made Ava start laughing as well, but she kept her giggles down while she crept up on the dinosaur. She moved right between the trees and pretended to bump into the big creature's body. They both burst into laughter, then collapsed onto the soft grass, giggling and rolling around. When their laughter faded, they stayed there together for another moment, catching their breath. Their breathing slowed as they lay on the soft ground, gazing up at the deep blue sky and the trailing lights of the stars. There were countless stars visible, and the bright ones traced patterns across the sky that Ava believed looked like the footprints of a tiny nocturnal animal that had crossed a deep blue field. She shared that idea with her friend, and they talked about it for a while, imagining a sky creature that would leave glowing footprints across the night. Then at last, they remembered their game, and both stood up slowly. This time the dinosaur would count while Ava hid. 1, 2, 3. The dinosaur's rumbling voice counted as Ava hurried off. She moved quietly along the edge of the field to the far side, then lay on her belly and crept into the tall, waving grass. She settled into a comfortable position with her head resting on her arms, remaining still so the dinosaur would not see the grass moving and would not realize where she was hidden. She heard her friend stop counting and begin his search. Stomp, stomp, stomp echoed from his large dinosaur feet. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of his big dinosaur tail moved through the grass. The Apatosaurus searched for her here and there. He peeked behind the trees and looked up into their branches. Finally, he began to search the grassy field itself, moving through it in one direction, then in the other, until he headed straight for Ava, who was hiding in her cozy spot on the far edge of the field. When he moved so close that she could hear his breathing, the dinosaur stopped. Ava turned her head slightly and peered at him with one eye. There was the dinosaur's big friendly face. His big friendly eyes were staring straight into hers from such a close distance that she could have reached out and touched him. That moment had them laughing once more, So they paused their game and settled back on the soft ground. The night was warm, and the grass around them felt like a cozy blanket. They looked up at the starry sky again and began to talk about a wide range of things. Ava opened up to the dinosaur about her secret thoughts, and he did the same. She realized she could tell this friend her deepest feelings and that he would understand. It was wonderful to share thoughts and feelings with someone who understood and cared about her. They talked and talked. Ava and her friendly dinosaur, deep into the night, in and out of dreams, and into the morning light. From that day forward, Ava understood that if anything bothered her or made her sad or worried, if there was anything on her mind, or even if she had a private secret to share, she could always whisper her feelings into the night, and her friend, the dinosaur, would hear them wherever he was. She would feel better and comforted, and afterward she could drift off into a wonderfully peaceful sleep.
Bedtime Affirmation. Lie down comfortably. Feel how the soft pillow gently holds your head. The pillow is as gentle as a fluffy cloud, keeping you cozy and safe. The blanket wraps around you softly. It's warm and light. Just like a cloud that floated down from the sky to bring you a peaceful sleep. Under the blanket, it feels like a little house. Where it's always warm, quiet, and safe. The day is over now. Everything that happened today games, smiles, laughter, little adventures all of it stays with you, and you can carry only the happiest parts into your dreams. All the tiredness and worries float away, disappearing into the air. Now it's time to rest. You can close your eyes and just listen to my voice. With every breath in, you feel calmer. With every breath out, all the worries fly far, far away. You are safe. The world around you is kind and caring. Your toys are guarding your sleep. Your parents love you and keep you safe. The whole universe is smiling at you and wishing you sweet dreams. You can say to yourself, I am calm. I am loved. I am safe. I am resting. Now imagine the very first star shining in the night sky. It shines just for you. Its light is soft and warm. Covering you like a second blanket. An invisible, magical one. And every little ray of that star whispers, you are loved. You are important. You are good. Sleep peacefully.